Greater than, when a trembling old man in a faded army jacket wandered into a diner one cold morning, nobody cared, except for one woman. But what she didn't know was that the man she helped would change her life forever, because beneath that fog of Alzheimer's was a secret worth billions. Don't skip this, it's one of those stories you'll never forget. It was one of those bleak mornings when the world feels gray even before the sun rises. The streets of Atlanta were half frozen, the sky heavy with clouds, and people hurried along with coffee cups and cell phones, too busy to notice the thin old man limping down the sidewalk. His jacket hung loose, its military patches faded almost to invisibility. His hat said Vietnam veteran, but the way he stumbled made people step aside, pretending not to see him. Inside the Silver Spoon Diner, the breakfast crowd was noisy, laughter, clinking plates, the hiss of coffee machines. Nobody noticed the man pushing through the glass door, his trembling hand on the handle, his eyes darting like he wasn't sure where he was. His name was Henry Wallace, but Alzheimer's had taken most of that identity from him. Sometimes he remembered he fought for his country. Sometimes he remembered the faces of his friends lost in the jungle. But mostly, he remembered pain, and an address that no longer existed. "Sir, you okay?" asked Tasha Brooks, a 26-year-old waitress whose life had never given her a break. She was working double shifts, saving to put her little brother through school, and trying to avoid getting evicted from her small apartment. Her boss, Marty, barked at her from behind the counter. "Don't bother with the old guy, Tasha. He's probably just looking for handouts again." But Tasha ignored him. She had a way of seeing people others looked past. Henry's voice cracked as he whispered, I used to eat here, is this still Campbell?" Tasha frowned. "Campbell, sir, you're in Atlanta." His eyes filled with confusion, then fear. He pulled a crumpled photograph from his jacket, a woman holding a newborn, standing beside a classic car. Do you know her?" he asked, voice trembling. Tasha gently shook her head. "No, sir, I don't. But come on, let's get you something warm to eat." She guided him to a booth, poured coffee, and smiled. What Tasha didn't know was that a hidden camera on the diner's ceiling had caught that moment, a shaky hand reaching out, a waitress offering kindness, and it would soon go viral around the world. As Henry ate slowly, memories flickered in his head like broken film reels, explosions, screams, laughter, a baby's cry. He mumbled something about a promise, a hidden letter, and Wallace Industries. Tasha assumed it was the rambling of an old man lost in the past. But she didn't realize Henry wasn't just any veteran. He was once the CEO of Wallace Innovations, a company sold years ago for billions, before he vanished, declared legally dead. When two men in suits walked into the diner later that morning, everything changed. They sat at the counter, ordered nothing, and stared at Henry. One whispered to the other, "That's him. That's Wallace." Tasha noticed their eyes. "You know him?" she asked. The taller man smirked, flashing a government badge. "We've been looking for him. Family business. You can go back to work." But something about their tone chilled her. She watched as they tried to coax Henry outside. He resisted, shaking his head. "No, not the home. I'm not going back." "Hey," Tasha snapped. "Don't grab him like that." The taller agent stepped closer. "Stay out of this, miss." But she didn't. That moment, someone filmed the confrontation. By nightfall, the clip was on TikTok, titled, "Waitress Defends Elderly Vet from Government Agents." Within hours, it exploded online, millions of views, strangers praising Tasha's bravery. But for her, it wasn't about fame. Something about Henry felt personal. The next day, Tasha visited the hospital where the agents had taken him. The nurse refused to give information, but when Tasha mentioned the viral video, the nurse whispered, "He's in room 212. Poor thing keeps asking for someone named Sarah." When Tasha entered the room, Henry looked up with cloudy eyes. "Sarah," he murmured. "No, sir, I'm Tasha," she said softly. "But I can stay with you a while." He smiled faintly. "You're kind, like her." Then, almost lucid, he whispered, "In the safe, under the floorboards, the letter will explain everything." That night, as Tasha left the hospital, a sleek black car followed her. A man inside made a phone call. "She knows. Get the letter before she does." Tasha had no idea she was now part of a story bigger than she could ever imagine, one that would uncover decades of secrets, betrayal, and a hidden fortune that could change her life forever. The night wind howled across Atlanta as Tasha lay awake, her mind replaying Henry's words like a haunting echo, "The letter, under the floorboards." She couldn't shake the feeling that what the old man said wasn't just the delusion of Alzheimer's, it was a plea. A message from a mind that was fading, but not yet gone. She stared at her cracked phone screen. The viral video had now crossed 14 million views. Comments poured in from every corner of the world. Greater than, she's an angel. Someone find that veteran's family. Why isn't the government helping him? But beneath the praise were darker messages too, anonymous accounts saying things like, "Stop digging into Henry Wallace," and, "You don't know who you're dealing with." That made her even more curious. The next morning, she skipped her shift and headed to Henry's old neighborhood. It took hours of searching through city records before she found it, a decrepit house on the edge of town, half collapsed, boarded up with weather-worn wood. A metal sign by the gate read, "Property of Wallace Foundation." The place looked dead, but when Tasha pushed open the door, a smell of old dust and forgotten time rushed out. She stepped inside carefully, the floorboards creaked, the wallpaper peeled like skin, and in one corner sat an old upright piano covered in cobwebs. Under the floorboards, she whispered. Her heart raced as she knelt down near the fireplace, tapping the wooden floor until a hollow sound answered. She pried it open with a screwdriver she found nearby. Inside was a small metal box wrapped in a tattered army flag. Inside that box, a yellowed letter, a set of old photographs, and a key. The letter was addressed to, "My son, Michael Wallace." Tasha unfolded it carefully. Greater than, if you're reading this, it means I never came back. The truth about the company, about your mother, it's buried deeper than anyone knows. They think the patents were theirs, but I protected them. The designs, the formula, the codes, all under my name, hidden in the safe house. Find the woman who bears the ring, she knows where it is. Henry Wallace. Tasha sat back, shaking. The woman with the ring, was that Sarah, the woman in the photo Henry showed her? Before she could process it, footsteps echoed behind her. Looking for something, she turned. Two men stood at the door. The same, agents, from the diner. But now their badges were gone, and their eyes weren't professional, they were dangerous. "Hand over the box," one demanded. Tasha clutched it to her chest. "Who are you?" The taller man smirked. "Let's just say, people with more to lose than you." She backed away, scanning the room for an exit. The back door was half open. She sprinted. They shouted, chasing her through the yard, but she leapt into her beat-up Honda and slammed the accelerator. Tires screeched. The box rattled on the seat beside her. That night, she hid the box at her brother's friend's garage, afraid of what might happen if she kept it at home. Back at the hospital, Henry's condition was deteriorating, but when he saw Tasha the next day, something flickered behind his foggy eyes. "You found it, didn't you?" he murmured. "How did you?" He gripped her wrist suddenly, stronger than she expected. "They want the formula. Don't let them get it." "What formula, Henry?" He looked around nervously. "Energy. Free energy. I built it. They stole it. And your mother, she was the only one who knew the code." "My mother?" Tasha froze. "You knew my..." But before he could finish, alarms blared. Henry's heart monitor spiked. Nurses rushed in. She was pushed aside as they tried to stabilize him. Through the chaos, Henry gasped out one last whisper before the oxygen mask covered his face. "Find Sarah Brooks, she's your blood." Tasha stumbled back, speechless. Brooks, her last name. Could it be? That night, she sat alone in her apartment, staring at her mother's old photograph. Her mother, who died when Tasha was 10, had always been secretive about her past. Her name was Sarah Brooks before she married Tasha's father. But Sarah was gone long before Tasha could ever ask about her real family. Now it all made horrifying sense. Henry Wallace wasn't just a stranger. He was connected to her. She pulled out the box again. Beneath the letter was a smaller envelope marked, "For Sarah only." Inside, a photograph of a younger Henry holding a baby with dark curls, and a gold ring with the initials HWB. Her hands shook. "No way, that's me." The next morning, she returned to the hospital, but Henry's bed was empty. The nurse looked pale. "They transferred him last night, private transport." No record. Tasha felt the walls closing in. She tried calling every nearby hospital, nothing. Finally, she received an unknown text. Greater than, "Stop looking for him. You're next." That was it. She packed the box, the letter, and the ring, and fled the city. She didn't know where to go, until she remembered something Henry had said in his ramblings: safe house, Lakewood cabin. A Google search showed an abandoned lakeside property in Tennessee once owned by Wallace Industries. She drove all night. By dawn, mist curled over the quiet lake as she reached a weathered wooden cabin surrounded by trees. Inside, everything was frozen in time, blueprints scattered across tables, half-built machines, and a wall covered in newspaper clippings about Wallace's disappearance. Then she found the vault. A steel door built into the floor, secured by a biometric lock, fingerprint and code. She pressed her finger out of instinct, nothing. But the moment she slid on the gold ring, a soft beep echoed, and the screen lit up. Greater than, identity confirmed. Welcome, Sarah Brooks Wallace. Her heart stopped. The floor split open, revealing a glowing vault full of folders, hard drives, and a single tablet still charged. On the screen, the Wallace Free Energy Project, schematics of a device that could power entire cities for free. No fossil fuels, no pollution, just infinite, clean energy. And at the bottom of the document, a line that made her gasp. Greater than, authorized by Sarah Brooks Wallace, co-founder. Her mother wasn't just part of the project, she built it. Tasha's entire body trembled. She wasn't just the daughter of a waitress. She was the heiress to a global secret, one people would kill to bury. And as if on cue, headlights flickered through the window. The men in black suits had found her again. Dash dash dash. Tasha grabbed the drive and fled out the back door into the woods. Bullets cracked through the night air. She dove behind a tree, clutching the drive tight. Her phone buzzed. A single unknown message popped up. Greater than, if you want to survive, trust no one. Go to the airstrip at dawn. Tell them Falcon sent you. Her mind reeled. She didn't know who Falcon was, but right now, she had no choice. She ran until dawn broke through the trees. Ahead, a small private airstrip shimmered in the fog, and a single plane waited, engine humming. A man in a bomber jacket stood beside it, wearing aviator shades. You must be Tasha, he said. Get in. I worked for Henry. He knew this day would come. She hesitated. Where's Henry? The man's face darkened. He's alive, but not safe. We're going to him. Dash dash dash. And just like that, Tasha's life as a diner waitress ended, replaced by a world of secret corporations, hidden heirs, and a father she thought was lost to time. What she didn't know yet was that Henry Wallace's Alzheimer's wasn't just a disease, it was the result of something far darker. Something they did to silence him. Tasha stared out the window, the events of the past few days spiraling through her mind like a hurricane. She'd gone from serving pancakes to dodging bullets, from comforting a lost veteran to discovering that veteran might be her grandfather, or her father. Her head ached with confusion, her heart with disbelief. Finally, she broke the silence. You said you worked for Henry Wallace. Prove it. Falcon reached into his jacket, pulled out an old photograph, Henry, younger, standing beside him in a military base, both in uniform. We served together, he said quietly. But when Henry left the army, he found something they wanted to hide. Something that could change the world, free, limitless energy. He built the prototype with a scientist named Sarah Brooks, your mother. Tasha's throat went dry. So it's true. She worked with him. Falcon nodded. She was more than that. She was his mind, his conscience. They were partners, and more. Tasha frowned. You mean? Yes, Falcon said gently. Your mother and Henry were together before she met your father. You are Henry Wallace's daughter. The words hit like thunder. Everything clicked. The strange familiarity, the feeling of connection, the look in Henry's eyes when he first held her hand. It wasn't just kindness. It was recognition. Tasha whispered, he didn't forget me. Alzheimer's didn't take that away completely. Falcon sighed. No, but the people who wanted his invention, they made sure his mind would fade. They poisoned him slowly with a drug that mimics Alzheimer's. The same people who chased you. Tasha felt fire rise in her chest. They did this to him. Why? Because his discovery would destroy their profits. Imagine a world where no one pays for electricity, no oil, no gas. The corporations running energy empires would crumble. Henry refused to sell, so they silenced him. When your mother refused to, she disappeared. They said she died in a car crash, but I don't think it was an accident. Tasha's hands trembled. Then where is Henry now? Falcon looked ahead. Somewhere safe. For now. Dash dash dash. After 2 hours, the plane landed on a remote island airstrip in the Florida Keys. It wasn't on any map. A private facility loomed nearby. White walls, security towers, and motion sensors glinting in the sunlight. Tasha hesitated. This looks like a prison. Falcon shook his head. It's a sanctuary, built by Henry years ago, in case the world turned against him. He called it Haven. As they walked toward the gates, a guard stepped forward, scanned Falcon's badge, then glanced at Tasha. Authorization confirmed. Welcome, Miss Wallace. The words made her heart stutter. She wasn't Tasha Brooks here, she was a Wallace. The heiress to a legacy she never asked for. Inside, the air smelled of salt and sterile metal. Dozens of engineers worked silently around a massive glass chamber, and inside that chamber floated something glowing blue, a pulsing sphere of energy. The prototype, Falcon said. Henry called it the Horizon Core. The power of a star, contained in your hand. Tasha's eyes widened. This is what everyone's after. He nodded. With that device, the world could change overnight. No hunger, no cold, no pollution, but greed always comes before humanity. Before Tasha could reply, a voice echoed from behind her, hoarse but familiar. I always knew you'd find me. She turned. Henry Wallace, standing in the doorway, pale but alive. His eyes clearer than before. Henry, she gasped, running to him. You're alive, I thought they. He smiled weakly. They tried, but the cure worked. The cure? Falcon nodded. We found the antidote to the neurotoxin they gave him. His memories coming back, slowly. Henry reached out, touching her cheek. You've grown into your mother's strength, he said softly. I remember now, Sarah. She told me if anything happened, to find you. To protect you. Tasha fought back tears. They killed her, didn't they? Henry's jaw tightened. Yes, she was trying to smuggle the final piece of the Horizon Core out before they seized it. They sabotaged her car. Tasha's eyes burned. Then why keep all this hidden? Why not expose them? Henry looked away. Because they're everywhere. Government, corporations, even the people funding the hospitals that treated me. If we expose them wrong, they'll erase us completely. But if we finish what your mother started, rebuild the Horizon Core and release it to the world, they can't stop it. Tasha nodded firmly. Then we finish it. For days, Tasha worked alongside Henry and Falcon, decoding her mother's research files. Henry's memory came back in flashes. Sometimes he called her Sarah by mistake, and it broke her heart each time. But she knew, deep down, he was remembering everything that mattered. One night, while analyzing a file, Tasha found a line of code that didn't fit. She decrypted it, and what she saw froze her blood. A corporate logo, Helios Dynamics, and an attached message. Operation Eclipse, retrieve or destroy Horizon Core. Use lethal force if necessary. Falcon leaned over her shoulder. Helios. They were Henry's original investors. They funded the early research. Henry's face turned white. They're the ones who wanted control. They poisoned me when I refused to sell. Suddenly, alarms blared across the facility. Red lights flashed. They found us, Falcon growled. Outside, black helicopters descended like hornets, kicking up waves of sand and seawater. Armed men in tactical gear poured out. Tasha grabbed Henry's arm. We have to go. Falcon shouted orders to the guards, leading them toward an escape tunnel beneath the lab. Explosions rattled the walls as the facility came under attack. Take this. Henry thrust a data drive into her hand. Everything your mother and I built, it's all on here. If they get me, don't let them get this. Promise me. Tasha's eyes filled with tears. No, I'm not leaving you again. Henry smiled sadly. You're my daughter. You carry our legacy now. The world needs to know the truth. Before she could answer, a blast shook the tunnel entrance. Falcon pushed her forward. Go, I'll get him out. She stumbled through the smoke, clutching the drive, until she emerged on the beach. Behind her, flames consumed the lab, the sky black with smoke. She screamed Henry's name, but no one answered. Then, a helicopter rose above the fire. A figure inside waved weakly before vanishing into the clouds. Henry was gone again. 2 weeks later, the world changed. A mysterious whistleblower uploaded files to the internet under the name, Sarah's Legacy. The documents revealed everything: Helios Dynamics corruption, the suppression of free energy, the poisoning of Henry Wallace, and the murder of Sarah Brooks. Within hours, it spread worldwide. Tasha never claimed credit, but she watched as protests erupted, governments demanded answers, and the Horizon Core blueprints circulated freely online. Scientists everywhere began building small versions of the device. The age of paid power was ending. But Henry had vanished once more. Tasha visited the ruins of Haven months later, now quiet and reclaimed by nature. As she walked along the shore, something glinted in the sand, a small, rusted dog tag. She picked it up. Greater than Henry Wallace, U.S. Army, never forgotten. She smiled through her tears. You did it, old man. Just then, her phone buzzed, an unknown number. She answered, expecting silence. But a familiar, raspy voice whispered. Greater than, keep the light alive, kiddo. The call ended. Tasha looked toward the horizon, where the morning sun painted the water gold. She smiled. Always, Dad. Greater than, sometimes the richest man in the world isn't the one with money, but the one who gives light back to humanity. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button right now, because kindness, courage, and truth are the real power that change everything.